Primo. Those of you who don't know Primo yet, or yet that well, may come across some new features in this presentation. But first of all, let me start from scratch. So what is the idea behind Primo? How does Primo work? And why was it developed? Okay, as I already said, what do users want? So users are used to use Google. Therefore, we need something in the library world that matches this approach, that somehow mimics Google for the library world. Print, electronic and digital material going into one interface and being searchable through one interface. Of course, this is not just an advantage. Of course, it might sound like a big advantage. Okay, I have everything right at my fingertips. But the question is how to manage the information flood. Okay, and therefore we will talk about ranking. What does ranking mean, and why is ranking so important, and so I would say so utterly important for a search engine-based discovery system such as Primo is. Okay, once more, it's a single and unified discovery layer for your electronic resources, information resources, global information resources, and of course also your local resources that you have in your library and that you don't have to subscribe to. Okay, that also means, of course, that different material types are accessible through one interface. This example just shows it. So maps, books, journals, and in the Primos of KTU or some other Lithuanian institutions, we can see exactly this behavior. So many different resources, many different resource types in one interface. Striving for better experience, what does that mean? So we have to think about how to change the interface, how to work with the interface so that it becomes more useful, more usable also, so more easier to use, and of course in the end desirable. So students should return to the system, and also the librarians, not just the students or the home users, the end users and the inner users, so to speak. Okay, therefore we have to take into account that some surveys have shown, as well as, for example, Marshall Breeding. He's at the Vanderbilt University in Tennessee, and he has written quite a lot about this topic. What really is the heart, or what are the really key features of modern discovery systems? I've highlighted some of them. So faceted navigation, that's something that should be first of all self-explanatory, and it should be just a standard feature. And relevancy ranked results. We already touched this issue. So how to manage the information flood. We'll see some examples later on. So keep this in mind. Relevance ranking is a very important issue. And last but not least, recommendations. So to have a recommendation system. This is something that we know well. As soon as we enter a library, we see shelves. So we don't see just one resource that we were looking for, one specific thing, but you know, approaches to searches, approaches to querying information are of course different, and somebody might search for something very specific, so he gets it. But if I enter, as soon as I enter the library, I see shelves of books, so recommendations. I see something that is connected with the one item I was looking for. And that's the same with Amazon, for example. So if I ordered an item, a specific item, I get recommendations of similar items. Okay, so Primo in a nutshell. Those of you who know Primo already, well, you will know these points, but once again to stress them, it's a one-stop search, so the search should be simple and intuitive. You don't have to read manuals in order to be able to search. It's a find it and get it in, solution. So not just finding things and then going somewhere else and getting them, but getting them using the same system. Just the same as I used for finding the material. Integration of all libraries and sources. So if you have a consortium website, on this consortium website you should find all your libraries, all your scopes that you have created, be it some specific book collections, some specific electronic collections, databases, whatever, so everything should be discoverable through one interface. And full Opac integration, so all the functionality that we are used to when comparing modern discovery systems to previous Opac systems, so ordering a book, keeping track of my fees, keeping track of all the loans I have, and so on. This is Opac integration, which should be found in a discovery system as well. Data and interface control, of course. So to have a web-based back office, your administrative team is working with a back office with an administrative interface, which is also web-based. So this forms part of what a contemporary discovery system is. Very important also scalability. So to match and to fit into the situation of a specific consortium, of a specific institution, of the data models that you have, of the simple sheer complexity and amount of data that you have. Okay, and expandability. So I'll mention in another slide also our portal, the so-called EL Commons, which is accessible to you as customers, where you can find quite a few documented APIs and web services. So how can I enhance my system? I can do it as an administrator. I have the ability. And there are quite many things already shared. So JavaScripts, specific CSS patterns, specific HTML enhancements, and so on and so forth. So a system should be expandable and enlargeable. That's why scalability and expandability are important, both of them. Last but not least, the large community. So with questions, you can always turn to your technical team, to our support team, as well as to other customers. For example, the British Library, if they have come across something similar, you can always discuss this, and there is, I already said that, this EL Commons, and many conferences where you can meet and exchange ideas. So I think that's quite a beneficial feature to have a large community. Okay, the basics of a discovery system. Of course, I need my search point where I can enter my search. It should be one box visible at the very first moment I enter my page. Okay, we talked about the facets, so faceting. As users of Primo, this is nothing new to you. So, but once more, a few words. It's just continuing my search. Once I've found something, to drill down my results even further. And once I've found something pertaining to global warming, as in this example, you can see on the screen, I can just continue my search by drilling down to global warming and climatic changes, and so on and so forth. So it's reiterable. it can be done several times in a row. Okay, every record has to have conspicuous and, let's say, in an easy way and in an understandable way, arranged tabs where you can request your item, where you can see the locations, where is my item, also my bibliographic details, and of course obtain more services. And yes, the user area. So I can share and export, and first of all save my results, my items that I'm interested in, my loaned items, whatever really is something I would like to personalize about the system, or to remember about the system. Okay, what's advanced discovery? So relevancy. This is about, really the heart of a discovery system. So the relevancy ranked results. First of all, let's address the topic of broad topic searches. A broad topic search is something like mathematics or autism, as in this case. So I want to have on my first page the topics, the items that match my topic in the broadest sense of the word. So something about autism, or something called autism, so some manual explaining all the psychological aspects of autism, should be at least somewhere on the first page. Let's have a look at a competition site where I just entered brain damage, and what do I find? A flicker of consciousness. I don't really know what this is, but it does not seem connected to brain damage on, well, first sight. So I think relevancy is really a topic that should be addressed always. So if you see discovery systems, this is one of the first things that you should verify. Okay, known item searches. This is something quite different from broad topic searches. Broad topic searches are, as the word says, broad topic searches. Known items, this is something quite specific. So if I'm searching for the Prince of Machiavelli, I want to find the Prince as the first result, or at least on the first page. And if the library owns many different princes, many different, well, just books, but those books are all the princes. I do not want to have my first 12 or 13 pages cluttered with the prince, but I want to see my examples in a conspicuous way. And therefore, first of all, the relevancy, the ranking, so being and finding my results on the first page and as the first results. This is one of the most important points. And another one is the grouping. So a grouping that makes sense. An example from KTU. This is Primo at KTU. I am searching for a prince, and what do I find? I find Machiavelli. So Principe, but this I think is an English translation by Machiavelli as the first result. Okay, and please also pay attention to the material type. So the resource type is kniga, it's a book here, and not an article. So if I'm searching for the prince or something quite well known, I want to have this book as my first result, and not some article somehow dealing with the topic. That will not be really relevancy ranking, or relevance addressed in a perfect way. Okay, I searched for the prince at the Istanbul University, and I don't find Machiavelli. I find Le Petit Prince, but it's not the prince. Okay, and not even the words are adjacent to each other. If you look at the first example, it's just prince or prince in this case, but it's not the prince. Okay, another example from Primo. So to have and have not of by Hemingway. Yes, I find it. No? To have and have not by Ernest Hemingway. And it's of course my relevant result. It's that thing quite well specified, as you can see. So it's not just the prince, but really to have and have not Hemingway. And that's what I find, and that's what I want to find. Competition, this is Ankara Universitesi. What do I find? I don't know what this is. Okay, so in any case, it's not to have and have not for Hemingway. Primo once again, Primo at KTU. Romeo and Juliet. What do I want to find? Yes, of course, I want to find the novel by William Shakespeare. And I find it here in English, in French, and in Finnish. So that's quite relevancy ranked, I would say. Another thing I want to add at this stage already, as owners of Primo, as local runners of Primo, you are of course in charge, and you are in control of the processes. So if you want some of your material ranked in a different way, if you'd like to, let's say, have some parts of your electronic material or some very specific digital collections to be weighted in a very specific way, you're free to do so. So your administrator can have influence on the ranking. The competition, I was searching for Romeo and Juliet, the University of Cologne. What do I find? Well, first of all, the first two results are not accessible to me if I'm not on campus of this university. And besides, what I see is the first item is something from or related to music literature. And that was not what I was willing to find. So I was searching for Romeo, Juliet. So Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare should be a good result, a good first result. Okay. This is not everything that the ranking is about. So this was general ranking we had a look at. There is also the scholar rank that we introduced and that we are working on, especially since Primo version 4. So what is ranking about? Ranking is not just about the query match or a value score of an item, but it's also about me, it's about the user. If I'm querying the system, I am expecting my results to a certain extent. So how to do that? Once I log into the system, I can specify who I am or what I'm interested in. What are my key fields, my key areas of interest. So I can enter my degree and of course also my specific area of interest, be it biology, be it music, be it medicine or something else. A good example that's always turning up is Mercury, for example. If someone searches for Mercury, what does he want to find? If I'm interested in music, if I'm interested in the history of music, so Freddie Mercury might be my key point of interest. If I'm interested in chemistry, I'm of course interested in mercury, the element. And if I'm an astronomer, well, what will I be interested in? Would it rather be Freddie Mercury or the planet? So to cope with these things, we have come up with personalized ranking. Okay, one example, if I'm interested in psychology, if I have told the system I'm particularly interested psychology, I get my results searching for something, and as you can see, they are from the psychological bulletin and so on and so forth. So really related to, especially related to psychology. The same search, the same query for a person interested in nursing, it yields quite different results. So please pay attention to the number of results. The number of results is exactly the same, so the set of the results is exactly the same. But the ranking, so the way the results are presented, or the way the results are just numbered, so to speak, is quite a different one. This is personalized ranking. And you can explore it with Primo version 4, as you have it right now, so you're free to gather examples. Okay, some additional features. You can add pages to your reshelf. On the upper right edge, there you can access your reshelf, and anytime you can just add this page, add this query result to your reshelf. You can request your material. This is Opac functionality that I already talked about, I mentioned. So not just finding my results, not just finding what I'm interested in, but also getting it. Something also quite new is searching by depth range. We can have a look at a live example afterwards at the KTU, for example. Okay, additional saving and sharing. This is completely configurable once again. So if you want to have an export in Vieta or some other format, you're free to implement it. This is in no way a restricted set of export options. Okay, and something which is quite geared to the internet using world, and all of us are using the internet and also social networks as Facebook are becoming more and more popular. So you can have the like button there. This was the user's point of view, the perspective of the user who doesn't see the interior life of Primo, but who just is interested in a convenient way to obtain information. What about the library? So the other side, the administrating side of the software solution. Okay, just a few words about the Primo architecture. So I don't know how many technical or working with Primo technically people are present right now, but just to summarize, so we have backend systems for the management of library resources. Integrated library systems like Aleph, for example. Those backend systems are not visible to the user in usual cases, but how to bring all of them together, how to gather the information, how to normalize it, and that's what's it's about. So the heart of Primo is really normalization. What does it mean? It's a conversion of any format that might go into Primo, be it Mark 21 data, be it Dublin core data, be it something else like a museum format, for example, EAD. You can implement this by creating a normalization set and creating a Primo normalized XML format. That's what PNX stands for. Okay. And that is the basis for a for the search behavior we have in a library discovery system. So before passing all those data to the search engine, to the indexing and search engine, in this case it's the scene based, we have to normalize the data. That's also quite important, and this distinguishes us also from some other vendors who are interested in distributing their content and not in normalizing the content. So converting the content into a single format so that it can be searchable in a convenient way. And all three layers can be modified and manipulated by means of the back office. Okay. The back office enables the library to define the ranking that the library needs. So we talked about ranking. Of course, there are many factors to the ranking, but the factor how to weigh a field, a specific field, when searching for material, this is editable by the library, so or by the consortial technical team in your case. Just another example of how to modify the ranking, and there are some more places in the back office, but I don't want to show them all of them to you right now. So there are quite some things that I can do with the system. I just have to know how to do it, and then I can influence my ranking. What else does the back office provide us with? It provides us with the ability to create consortial environments, consortial Primo environments. So not just having one website, one view, but every participating university might have its own view. So KTU, VGTU, and so on and so forth, which has been done already. So by Antanas, really great work, having 17 views, I think, 17 right now. So this is also quite important for a discovery system to have a consortial usability. Patron empowerment, so requesting material. In this case, it's a book, so I want to place a request online, or to view my material online, if it's electronic, so to download it, to be able to download it right away. My account, to store my loads, to store my saved queries, and to export to Shara via this so-called my account and eShelf. This is a look at the eShelf, so items I'm interested in, I can just store them here. Okay, so we talked about the two aspects of the discovery system and specifically Primo, so addressing the user and addressing the library. Now let's talk about some more general topics of transformational. That's what the system should also be, flexible, transformational, adaptable to modern technologies. For example, that of course means that HTML, CSS, JavaScript, whatever I'd like to add, that this is of course part of the system, and this can be incorporated by me. If I'm an administrator, I want to change my website, my Primo view, in the way I want it to be. I can do that just right away. I already mentioned EL comments, and this is an example. So as customers of eLibris, you get a password to this portal, and you can explore things that other customers have already implemented into Primo. For example, the auto-suggest function in Primo, we all know that from Google. So once I've entered the first letters of a search term, I already get a list of auto-suggestions. So if I enter math, I already get mathematics as a suggestion. And this is also feasible for Primo. You can do that. Just download the code, just incorporate it, and that's it. And many more. So this is just a short example. There are quite experienced developers that have contributed to this portal. New ways to discover information. We already talked about this, the recommendation system. And we happen to be the ones in the market that really don't share this market niche. So we are the only ones to have a recommendation system. Tim already talked about it. It's what we know from Amazon or just by entering the library. I see a shelf, I see recommendations. They are usage-based. So the data that SFX delivers, that we can get via SFX, we analyze them and create recommendations based on these data. And the free add-on that you're free to download, it's BX Hot Articles. Just visit our website and you can download it and keep track of the most popular articles every day. We're still talking about flexibility of the system, so incorporating of multiple data sources, not just the standard ones like Mark 21, or Unimark for my library data, not just Dublin Core for my electronic data that I might have, and not just, well, that's pretty much it. So Dublin Core and Mark are the standard formats. Well, let's say I want to include a museal format like EAD. I'm free to do so, and it has been done already at several sites, inter alia at this Mountain West Digital Library. And it's very much about content neutrality, so not promoting the resources that I as a vendor have bought, but it's really bringing the wealth of information right before my users. That's what I want. That's what a library wants. That's what academic consortia all around the world do want to achieve. That's it. So open access and also hybrid journals. As you might already know, as you certainly know, there is not just open access and something I have to subscribe to. There are journals that are normally subscribable, but containing open access articles. So this hybrid model, and with Primo Central. So this is our global index, of course different from Primo. Primo is the software. Primo Central is the global index of metadata and full text that you can integrate into your Primo once SFX has been set up properly, of course, because SFX is really doing the linking job here. Once you have done that, open access and hybrid journals are all accessible to you. And as Tim already showed, it's really about having a look at where can I find my material, not just always, if I'm used to EBSCO, for example, I know I get my things from EBSCO, but there are alternative ways. There are always alternative ways since the open access model and really everything concerning openness. So open interfaces, as I already said, Primo has open interfaces. It's not open source, but it has open interfaces. And also the open access, open data, that becomes more and more important. And that's something we really have to address and are addressing already. Okay, integration of course with different systems. If you're using a different interlibrary loan system, for example, an integrated library system, or whatever it might be, integration should be possible. And this is an example from Rewo in the French-speaking Switzerland. They use a different integrated library system, and it works with Primo as well. Interoperability between different Libris projects. Of course, there are standard interfaces so that data intercourse is always manageable in a convenient way. These are examples with Primo and Rosetta, so the digital asset management and long-term preservation system that we have incorporated into Primo and working together with Primo. Of course, the mobile interface, so it's out of the box, it's platform agnostic. You can, of course, configure it in the way you want by adding some CSS file, but it's really out of the box, it's there. You can just use it. Some other examples of what customers have done, what customers have integrated, an interactive map to my item, for example, showing me the way through the library. And I can imagine that that would be quite interesting for this new building too. So really seeing the layers of the floors and where to find a book. This is a gimmick one can always think about. New arrivals, this is an example from Korea. So there is a ticker, I can click on them and get directly to my Primo page containing my respective results. Suggestion lists, I already suggested that, so if you're interested, please just implement it. Local tabs, for instance, Wikipedia, and I think Mandy will talk about the semantic web features of the Primo at the British Library and also at some other libraries where well, the semantic web model has been approached by adding some Wikipedia data. In this case, it's a tab, so I can search for something in my Primo and then continue my search in Wikipedia. Once again, to summarize, so advanced discovery, user-geared, library-geared transformation. Some examples from quite all around the world. Those are German-speaking customers, some other customers, and of course, the Akademie e-Biblioteka. And well, I want to show you this slide. Those are this is the academic ranking of world universities in 2012, and 16 out of 24 universities are already using Libris products. So we're quite happy to work with the best libraries all around the world. We already mentioned that, so Primo around the world, within 6 years we have almost 2,000 customers. And very different customers, so consortial institutions, academic, private, and so on and so forth. Some surveys, so the average number of sessions per day grew at the New York University quite rapidly. The average length of a session was reduced, and this is again the Yonsei University in Korea. The search response time could be reduced with Primo as well, but on the other hand, the position within the result sets was in almost all cases on the first page. So we don't have to navigate to the 14th page anymore. We can find our relevant results on the first page. Thank you. So that's a survey of Primo, of new features in Primo. You're free to ask questions.
Excuse me that I am asking so many questions, but it is very important for us.
Please.
You know, we had last year we had working group. We are working on the problem of the implementation of Primo. At the beginning, we had Lithuanian virtual library, but this implementation doesn't work properly, and then we decided to split for the separate institution. But when we have implementation at the institutional level, we still face the same problem. For example, when we search for local resources, for library catalog or our publication database, everything is working so, but it's working.
Okay.
But when we speak about search from our subscribed resources or for open resources, it doesn't work. You presented an example from Kaunas University of Technology, how it's search results from the Primo Central, but actually we don't subscribe those resources. We don't subscribe American Technological Association database and other resources. So how we can provide access to full text? And we also have
Yes.
four more possibilities to choose. We have EBSCO index, we have subscribe database, we have Primo Central, and we have open access database. And search work quickly, quite quick, from Primo Central. From the another resources, it works very slowly. It takes about 5 minutes. And
Yes.
then it means
I know.
that user stop search. And another problem that when we search from Primo Central, we receive results just for 30 results. Why 30? Why not more?
I don't know about this
Yeah.
this 30 problem. We talked about that yesterday. Of course, there are some problems, and well, nothing's ever finished. So if there are problems, address it to Antanas, and Antanas will discuss it with our support team.
We addressed this problem
Okay, okay.
for 4 years.
Let me please continue.
That's
So,
why we are asking more.
yes. The most important thing is your first question. The remote resources, what you are still using on the line is Metalink. This is a federated search. So this is why it takes longer. This is a product that will not be supported in the future. It's still a product that runs, but the point is we want to replace Metalink by Primo Central. And that is quite possible, because if you have a look at the coverage, and Tim showed the slides, if you have a look at the coverage, almost all the material that you use and that libraries use worldwide is discoverable in Primo Central. What we need, therefore, is a proper setup of Primo Central and a proper setup of SFX. And what we learned is that SFX was a little bit neglected at the Lithuanian Academic Consortium as yet. So we are now concentrating on setting up SFX, the newest version of SFX, SFX4. Until now it's still SFX3, which is not supported, by the way, anymore. So it has to be SFX4 in order to get support for SFX in the future. So these are the next steps that we really should focus on. How to bring the libraries on the newest version of SFX, how to set up PCI, the Primo Central Index, properly, and then you don't need the remote federated search anymore. That's the point that we must address, and we are addressing already.
So, as said yesterday, we had the meeting and we agreed on also giving best practice and help on how to configure, as it's not well configured at the moment. That's what we noticed. As said, this 30 results, it's Metalink, it's not Primo Central, and you cannot compare it to EBSCO or whatever else databases. So thinking about, why are you laughing?
Because, yes, we are not technical people, and we don't know how it's implemented, what is implemented,
Right.
but we search the results and we see what we get, and we constantly testing, asking for improvement, and still
Nothing happened.
nothing happened. It's take 4 years, it's a very long period of time, so. And
Now
our
we
users also are not satisfied, and we lost our
I
users.
can understand that. I can,
Yes.
of course, understand
Because
that.
users don't need such system, because it's very complicated. It's
Yes,
for us complicated.
And that's why
Yeah.
we are promoting the Primo Central Index. It's not complicated. It's a global index that's
But at the moment, Primo Central doesn't cover all the resources. What do we subscribe?
that's why it's important to set up SFX properly and to set up Primo Central
Please
properly.
set up.
It's possible, and we are working on that. Because to be really honest, the Metalink quicksets that you are using for your remote research right now, they take a lot of time. This is a model that's had its best days some years ago. So this is not the future, this is not even the present. So it's really about Primo Central. Primo Central, Primo Central, once again Primo Central. Setting SFX up correctly and using Primo Central. If you have a look at Kaunas Technology, Kaunas University of Technology, where is Primo Central? It's in the third tab, somewhere in the drop-down menu. It's the second scope. Who looks there? Nobody.
Actually,
So-
we look, but we didn't receive the resources, but we subscribed. We tested many times. And
We've seen that
we
they are
didn't
not-
receive the results from
we've seen
our
that.
subscribed
And
database.
therefore, I can just repeat it. It's really important to get to the level of SFX4, the newest version of SFX, the newest version of Primo Central. MetaLib is really not what we want for your consortium.
So all the benefits we've talked about, that's all available to you. And yesterday I said we agreed, or I said I want to provide guidance in setting it up the way, all the satisfied customers we have.
So when we can expect that we will have at least good results from our system.
Thomas, what do you think? When do we have SFX4?
Right, what do you think? I asked in last hour meeting of Google, our system administrator. We were talking about
Yes.
yesterday. I think that in this month we will install
Okay, so that's really important, and we are working together on this issue. It's really a huge issue. We've seen that SFX, well, was neglected in favor of MetaLib, and that's not the right way. So what you are searching, if you choose your remote quicksets in Primo, it's MetaLib. It's a federated search, so you are going into different databases, and that takes time. Yes, but that's an outworn model. Yes.
But why it was done like this? Why we don't understand which should be used. MetaLib, we don't care. We care about result. We care about the user, what the user will find, and what all this back office, so to say, technical side, we don't understand what should be used, which version, and whether it's SFX, whether it's MetaLib. So we rely on technical stuff. So they should say so why MetaLib was chosen, why not SFX? Why
Because
SFX was neglected? What is the reason?
Some years ago, MetaLib was state of the art, yes, but it isn't anymore.
So, which means you didn't tell our people that you shouldn't work with MetaLib, you should work with SFX. This is how I understand things.
It's always about promoting Primo Central. We were talking about that, but I guess some maybe staff problems or whatever might have been the cause for that. But we have identified the problem. We know what to do. We know that we have to operate to the newest version of SFX. And to set up the Primo Central index properly. That's what we see, that's what we are already working on.
Actually, we discussed the same problem in Warsaw when we meet with your representatives about this, that system doesn't work and we need help. And they said, okay, we will try to solve, but it was 2 years ago. And 2 years ago after this, we still are waiting when the problem will be solved. But at the moment, it doesn't.
It's not about it's not only about solving problems. It's about identifying the correct model. The correct model is Primo Central.
Yeah, so it took, what Seminaro said, so which means that it took 2 years to identify the problem. Now EBSCO is coming and demonstrating EDS. Yeah, we know your relationship with that. Yeah. But, you know, we are interested in the product that works. We are tired of continuous just exploration, whether it's working, it's not working, now try again, now our technical staff says, we have implemented something, now try, does it work? It doesn't work. Okay, we'll tell them, this doesn't work, this, we spend time on these testings. Yeah, we don't know whether it's, so we blame them. They blame you. We don't know what's going on because we are paying money. It's it's taxpayers' money. It's a lot of money, and we don't have a product. So people are actually tired And then people are thinking, okay, let's go to Expo. Maybe because when they're coming and they're demonstrating online, and then okay, everybody has internet here. So you connect into the system, and let's compare the search. We are comparing this, and we are comparing this. Who wins? Expo wins. And we are seriously considering maybe to go to and buy Expo product because it works.
Actually, we tested Discovery Service for 1 year, and you know, the number of users increased more than 10 times. So we are getting new users, even if we didn't any promotion for EBSCO Discovery. It was included in EBSCO databases. We didn't put on our website, but number of users increased dramatically. And
because any modern system
actually, when we
increases
asked
the number.
test Primo, our user said that, oh, it's so complicated, we cannot.
Yeah, because
We
it's all
don't
about
know
quick
how
sets
to
as
set.
yet. So
Yeah.
as I said, it's really taking the Primo Central model seriously. It's really setting up Primo Central. And
if we have this product for 4 years, you have to solve this problem. But when we are asking about it, but you didn't. Why not?
So we are here because we are now noticed all that. So that's why we identified. Yesterday you look at the configuration. We noticed that Primo Central is only rarely active. So you do not get the results we talk about. So as said, we agreed on our best practice guiding, and you can blame me or us, I think, in a few months if it's not all working that well. So it's about configuration, it's about getting rid of meta search, it's getting Primo Central on top, it's getting the correct weight between the local records and the central index. And then you expect the same as you expect with others and with better results. So as I said, we are aware, and I'm new to this, I'm quite sorry to hear what you said. That's why we're here the whole week and talking about this. And that's all true, what you've found in that. Sure, that's what I've seen as well. And it's now that we really take the task and work together over here with Antonas and his team to have it really set up the way it's helpful for you.
yes, and you shouldn't lose focus, I'd say. So if you just see that the number of users was increasing as soon as you tested EDS, that's not the only thing. So EBSCO doesn't offer you the sort of flexibility or configurability that you have with Primo. You don't have this open access model evolved in such a way. All these things, recommendations, and all of that you should take into account. So it's not just, most of my databases are with EBSCO, so I just use EDS and I'm fine. You still have different systems. You still have the vendor model behind EBSCO. EBSCO is an editor. They are vendors. They want to promote their data. We shouldn't forget all of that. We shouldn't forget the ranking and all of which we really need for a modern discovery system. And one of the reasons why some of the problems took some time or weren't addressed in a proper way was probably that some of your staff just asked for the solution of this particular problem, but solving a metallurg problem does not solve the entire picture. No? It's not about solving problems, it's about approaching the correct picture, and the correct picture is Primo Central. We talked about open access, about hybrid journals, about ranking, all of these things. This is what Primo Central is all about. And Primo Central, of course, needs SFX. So once more, I can just state it really firmly. SFX and Primo Central, this has to be set up as soon as possible.
Does it involve extra money with
You have it already.
Okay, so we have it already.
Yes.
Okay, so how much time do you assume it will take to set things correctly?
It also depends on Tana's people. So how many people can you spare for this job right now? It's really important. We have to work on it. We're working together on it.
We're talking about yesterday and money month ago. Currently with SFX working Andrius Kriščiūnas and Neringa Valyti, I think 1 month, and very good experience provide to Tim last 2 weeks, and yet now we decided on what server we will install SFX4 in second week, and I think that all processes will be grow very excellent.
So how much time? 1, 2 years, 3 years?
No, we haven't time. This will be was yesterday. We haven't time. I think that 1 month that is maximum. We will configure SFX4.
Yeah, so for 1 month for SFX4, how much for Primo Central?
It is together. It is not
It's configured
separate.
in parallel.
Okay, so before we will leave for vacation.
When is that?
We haven't vacation in this year.
They're not going to have vacation at all. But that's bad, because then they work too much.
So when do your holidays start?
Mine is in August, so
In August.
that's why I say it's August.
Should be usually in university
In
on
July.
Okay, as I just said, we are working on the problem. We have identified the real problem. It's not about this quickset or that quickset, how to distribute the quicksets amongst each other on the web page. It's about really SFX and Primo Central. Okay, let's have a break.